Hey, and if you like gifting experiences, tickets and events for Christmas gifts like we do in our house, then I'm going to show you how to make these absolutely gorgeous customized tickets, and they're really easy to do in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you how. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the crafter and designer behind this channel, and I'm here to help you get the best of your Cricut machine and become your own designer. And today we are making custom tickets. So we've got two different styles. We've got a QR code ticket, but I know I've gone QR code crazy, so you don't have to add the QR code, but this was a concert, so rather than put who the concert was for, I thought it would just be a really cute idea to put the QR code to one of their favourite songs. You could do that if it was a hotel. You could do a QR code to the hotel or the city or whatever it was that your experience was. You could actually do that, and that's a really great surprise. So you've got that version, or you've got the version where you just put Merry Christmas and the star. So you could do either one. What I've also done is I've print and cut some of the vouchers, and I have foiled the others. You need a black and white laser printer, and I will pop the link to mine below because it was one of the most inexpensive ones I can find, and I've had it a couple of weeks, and this is the first time I've used it, but I'm having quite good results with it. I haven't fully mastered it, but I'm getting there, and I love it. Now this QR code, it does actually work. Even though it's shiny, if you get it in the right light, it does work. So I will show you how to make it with a foiling. I will show you how to make a print and cut version. We're going to set the whole template up in Cricut Design Space. I'm going to show you how to make the whole template, how to personalize it, how to create all your outlines and designs so that your vouchers are personal to you. Now I have got just a simple blank outline template. If you want to skip that bit and go straight to the decorating, I'll put a link below for that, so you can download the template if you want to and then decorate it. Right, okay, so let's hop on to Cricut Design Space and I'll show you how it's done. So we're going to go into Cricut Design Space and we're going to grab a rounded square and a triangle. So you are going to duplicate your rounded square and unlock it, and you're going to make one rectangle. So you're going to grab it longer, but then you also, I should have duplicated it first, you also want a square. So you're going to line those up next to each other, and that is going to make your ticket shape. And the only thing that's important here is to make sure that they are both the same depth. So you can go to the left hand corner and turn on your grid lines, and that will make it easier to line up. And then once we've done that, I am going to just pop the square to the other side and make sure that I'm happy with it. And then I'm going to right click and weld these two bits together, or flatten them, because I want them to be stuck together. Then I am going to get another square, and what I want to do is I want to make the little connections that go between a ticket, so your perforations. So I'm going to turn it white first because I'm going to print and cut it in white, and I'm going to make it a print and cut image. Then I'm going to go to the bottom and just change the background colour to a pale grey, and then you can see your ticket because it just blends into the white. So go and grab another square now, and what we're going to do is we're going to ungroup that and squash it down into a thin line. Then we're going to move our template out of the way, and we're just going to keep duplicating the lines. And what we want to do is we're going to arrange them across so that you've got all of your lines. They don't have to be equal end to end because you're not going to see that. You're only going to see the middle, but you obviously want to have a similar gap in between. So if you just scroll in and put your tiny grid lines on, you can just line them up so that they go every other box. And that I found was the best way to do it. And it just takes a while to faff about and get those where you want them. Once you do, then you can duplicate, do half, duplicate them and flatten them or weld them together. I'm just going to pop them on, and I see there that they're just not quite big enough, or they're too big, so I'm going to take a couple of those out. Then I'm going to go back in, select all, and I'm going to either flatten or weld it together. And you can weld it together because you can get to the end and then you can make it a print and cut image. So I went through and flattened all of this, but I had to go back and undo a few things just to make changes, so it makes it easier to weld, and then when you decorate you can start to flatten. And now we're going to duplicate this because I'm going to keep one plain and I want to make one with a zaggedy edge. So I'm going to grab a triangle, and what we're going to do is just duplicate the triangle loads. And this is just a really great way, again, to just be able to make templates that you can slice out with. So once I've got them, I'm going to align them all so that they're horizontal. And that will put them all in a line. Once you've got them all in a line, it took me a while to decide there, but I aligned them right in the end. I'm going to weld it together, and then I can slice it out. And this is where I struggled, because I flattened, and because this piece here is all different flattened pieces, obviously it's still multiple layers. So I had to weld the ticket, and then you can slice because you've got 2 layers. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Send it to the back so you can just see. So it just means that make sure your ticket is all one solid welded layer, then you can slice out. But you can't slice out if it's loads of layers joined together. And there is my ticket. But I'm just not fully happy because it looks like the end of a cracker. So I'm going to go back and undo it. I'm going to make it a bit longer because I just felt like it made that ticket stub bit a bit too short. So I've unlocked it, grabbed it longer, and then I'm going to pop it so that it doesn't go right in. So it's a bit stumpier, and you'll see what I mean when I slice it, and that looks better. So you can do that. You can go back and amend things, and that is totally fine. So I'm just going to resize this ticket, and I do prefer it with that shaped end. I think it just looks so much better. I'm going to decorate, and I'm going to grab an oblong from Cricut Design Space, and what we're going to do is we're going to size it so that it fits on our ticket. So I'm going to unlock it again. I don't know what I'd do without this unlock button. I use it all the time. And I'm going to size it so it just needs to fit inside. But then that's where we want our decoration to be. So I'm going to make it a tiny bit smaller. Then I'm going to create an offset. It doesn't want to be a massive, thick, chunky one. Just a bit of a nice offset because this is going to be a border. And we're going to make this 2 different versions. So I'm going to slice this out, and there's your border. So that's how you make a border. It's that easy. And I'm going to make 2 versions. This is going to be in black ink for my laser printer, and then my other one is going to be in coloured, and that's going to be a print and cut image. Just so that you can see it doesn't need to be in foil. You can do it in colour as well. So I've used that method exactly the same to make a border for the smaller ticket portion, and they're starting to take shape, and you can see the design now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on to the bottom design, and I am going to colour my borders. So I'm going to start with red and see how I go on. I might change it after, but the great thing about this is you can swap and change. So the top is black, it's flattened, and the bottom, what we're going to do is probably save a template because I can go in and change that and use that again and again. So now I'm going to grab a text box, and you can put whatever you want on these. I'm going to type in Merry Christmas and what my gift is. So I'm just going to type Merry Christmas. You can change your fonts. If you've got the paid version, you've got lots of choice, but don't forget, if you haven't got the paid version, you can still use your system fonts, and there is loads and loads of choice. So we're in system fonts now, and I'm just going to scroll through till I find something that works. I think I'm going with the Arial bold. So I'm sideways with this, but I need to turn it round really. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice it out first. So I've got my font there. I've centered it. I'm going to slice it out. I was going to put it sideways, but I've changed my mind. And I'm slicing the font out of the back because I think that when that's printed, that will look really good. But I'm going to go up to more at the top, and I'm going to just flip it round. So we want to flip it so that it's on its side. So not 45, you want to tip it 90 degrees. It's round, you can then pop it into position and drag it. So I'm going to put that on both of them. So I'm just going to decide where it needs to go, and it's either going to go inside or do I overlap my lines. I think if I move it up a bit, I can overlap my lines, and that will look really good. So again, that's all going to be in black, and when that's on foil, that will look good. But I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to move it onto my bottom ticket also. That will be the colour of my ticket, so red, but we might change that yet because I'm just not sure if I like it at the moment. And then we're going to get our text, and we're going to put the gifts in. So I'm going to make one for me and one for Chris, my hubby. So I'm going to type in a weekend in Venice, and this is going to be a voucher for me. So yep, I wish, but you can but dream. And I'm just going to pop that in there, and then I will probably change the font to something that looks a bit squarer and a bit bolder. So I'm going to make it smaller, and then we're going to go back into fonts and change it so I can choose my font. And I quite like this one. Is it I can't even pronounce that, Khmer. But I'm going to drag that a little bit bigger. And then that is going to be my font for my tickets. And then what we want to do is add some images. So we're going to go into the free shapes bar. No, we're not. We're going into the image bar. I'm so used to not using this. And we're going to look for some free images. So I want some snowflakes. If you've got Design Space access, you'll have more choice. But I'm just going to use what's free and what's available. And try and grab a few different versions of snowflakes and just pop them on. I think these will look really pretty in foil. But they'll also look really pretty when we colour them for the bottom printable version as well. And you can put anything you want. You could also put like a row of Christmas lights, and on the coloured version you could have every light a nice different colour, or you could use Christmas bauble. So there's so much you could do. So I'm going to get another text box and put my name, and then once I've got that into position, I'm going to make it bigger. You could put detail, you can put dates, anything on here. So I mean, I'm just doing this as a dummy model, but if I was making it as a gift, I probably would put dates and more detail on. So once I've got that, I'm going to find something cursive. So there is one, it's love, Haney love, I think that's it. And I got that, it was a free download. So if you Google Haney love, I think it was Font Bundles or someone like that, one of the free downloads. So that was a really good one to use, and it's got the little hearts on, so I really like that one. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the bottom ticket. So I'm just going to duplicate the text that I've got and move it down, but I'm not happy with the red. I just can't settle with it. So I'm going to change it to blue and use a blue background, and I think that's going to work so much better. And that is the beauty of print and cut, that you can change your mind at any time, unflatten, and I'm just going through and unflattening stuff, and then I can change the colour, and it's that easy, and I love that. Another great thing is that you can save it as a template, so you can use it year after year, or if you make projects to sell, then save the template. You can have summer ones, you can have wedding ones, whatever you want to do, and save them, and you can come in like I am now, and you can just change names and details and edit them. And as long as things are flattened and not welded, that's all doable. Well, I'm going to just change this and put concert tickets, but because I want to show you just how quickly to add a QR code. So what I've done is I've got a link of a Oasis song. My husband's a big Oasis fan, and I've got it in YouTube. So I'm going to go now into Canva and create a custom size, just 1,000 by 1,000 document. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into apps, go to the top and just type QR, and there's all these different QR code makers. Enter the URL of the YouTube video, and it will make you a QR code. It really is that easy. So I'm just going to make it so it fits the box. You don't need to take the back off. It's probably better if you don't. Save it, and then you're just going to export that. I'm going to just put Oasis in case I make a couple so I don't get confused. Save it as a JPEG. Upload it to Cricut as a flat graphic. Again, don't take the back off. Just add it into Design Space, and you can pop it into your voucher. And that will be scannable so that when you give it as a gift, whoever gets it can scan it and see their gift. So I've put this song so that he knows what band it would be. Now I have printed this in foil and it did scan it. You had to be careful what angle you held it out, but it worked. So when I did this in the design stage on the blue voucher, what I did was I left the QR code black. But do you know what? You can make it blue. It will still work. And now the next stage is to create an offset. Again, this is all optional, all design details. But if you create an offset for each of your vouchers, then what that will do, you can actually cut that on a glitter cardstock or a metallic poster board and mount it. You don't need to do that, but it is just a really nice finishing touch. So now it's time to send these to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm flattening my labels together. So I'm going to flatten the black ones and flatten the colour. And the reason I'm doing that is because they will go on two separate pieces of paper, and these are going to go on 2 separate printers. So I'm going to send one to my colour printer and one to my black and white laser printer. Both of them I want to be on best quality because the black and white one I want to pick up the foil. This I want to be a better quality of colour, and then I can send them to cut. And here we are printing we're printing out our colour vouchers. So these are the ones that we're just going to use as colour vouchers. And actually I really like them in the pale colours. You don't have to use the QR code, but yeah, I have got a bit QR code crazy, but they make lovely vouchers. I mean, that's quite big. You could make them a little bit smaller. And here, black and white vouchers. So this is a black and white laser jet printer. So these are the printers that you can use for foiling. So I'm going to get this cut out. So we're just going to have two different vouchers done two different ways. Cutting out our foil back in. So I've got it, I'm going to use three different colours, but this is for the ones that I'm foiling. So I want that to be silver because I think I'm going to use a silver foil, and then for the others I'm going to use colours to match the colour of the ink on the voucher. So you don't have to go and buy a special printer for foiling. You can just do this and make them in colour, and they do look equally as lovely, but it just adds a bit of extra sparkle. And this is for my other two vouchers. So I've got two different types of cardstock on here. I used my trusty old scrap bin so that I wasn't just using full sheets of card, and was lucky to find a blue and a green. So they're going to be perfect. This is like a foil poster board. I really do like these. It's a bit tough to cut because it's so thick, but it looks like it's cutting okay. And here we are, it has read the sensors and it is now cutting it out. Now it didn't actually print it with a bleed, even though I put the bleed on, but it is reading the lines, it's cutting out the squares, so that's fine. But they make really great vouchers. They've come out really, really well so far. But when you mount them on a bit of card, they're just going to give them that extra bit of sparkle. We have our vouchers printed off, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to deal with the foil ones first. So we've got the backgrounds, they're all ready to go, but we're going to foil these. So what I'm going to do is pop my tickets on there. So these have been cut with a laser jet printer. I'm going to get a foil sheet, and you want it so that it goes the back side down like that, so the shiny side up, and then I'm going to pop that on there, and that is going to go in my heat press. So we're nearly at temperature now. It's taken a couple of minutes to warm up. So we've got here our tickets. I've got both tickets, I've got the foil, and then I'm going to put a Teflon sheet on top of that to protect it too. So we're at temperature, so we can now pop that in. So we're going to click start, and there we go. So it is now pressing down and it is going to heat it. I've got my glove ready. I use my glove when it's finished. So this has been on for 20 seconds. That's what we're going to heat press it for. We can always adjust it if it doesn't do it enough. So I've altered that slightly and gone for 40 seconds. And there we go. We can take these out and test. So now we've got those. What we're going to do is we're going to just pop the backs onto them. I've got a few silver and I've got my coloured ones. So you don't have to use the foil. The foil's optional, but you can use the colour. And the colour ones look great. So I've got my tape gun. This makes life so much easier. I'll pop the link to this below because I found it in my drawer the other day. I forgot I'd had it, and you remember that something's so easy to use. And there's 1, 2, 3. Hard to show that because it's so glittery. Now what I did test out the QR code when I printed it all off. I thought this is never ever going to work. Anyhow, it did. You've just got to get it in the right light, but it did work. But you could do that in colour because I've since tested that and that will work, or you can just leave it in black, but you can also do that in the glitter and they just look brilliant. And there you go, Christmas gift cards made on your Cricut machine, and you can use foil or just use print and cut. And how did you find that? Aren't they cute? I love the fact that you've got options. You can do whatever you want in terms of, you don't have to use a QR code. You can use a QR code. You can use print and cut, or you can use foil. And I love having those options so that you've got lots of different design options to make your own. I have been playing with the foil quite a lot. So there's the green. Now what I did do is print and cut it first, but I was just messing about with getting the quality right on these. And then I've got a rose gold as well. So as I said, I still got a bit of work to getting those perfect, but we're going to make a Christmas card next week with the foil. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Please do let me know in the comments what you make, whether you use the QR code or whether you just go ahead with a pretty design. And for once we've used Cricut Design Space images, but I think if there's a snowflake free or there's a design free that you can use, then it's worth using. And if you've got access, you've got options of lots of different designs. So make use of those because you're paying for it. Thank you so much for crafting along with me. I will pop the links to more Christmassy crafts below. I will see you next time, and happy crafting.